All right, I don't even know. I'm sure Brian Geisinger has a mock draft. Let's find out what his big board says. He joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Mr. Geisinger, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, we're back to an NBA draft as like normally scheduled after the last two being delayed because of the pandemic.
All right, let's start with Duke because they have like half the draft with five guys who are potential first round picks. Um, Obviously, Paolo Banchero is going to go first among those five. How good an NBA player can he be?
I think he can be an incredible NBA player. I mean, we've seen the offensive upside, the ball handling, the skill, both in the open court and in the half court setting. How Duke could run an offense through him, the way he was playing, even especially at the end of the season, like what he did in the NCAA tournament, the passing, the court mapping, like his ability to find guys and to see stuff a step ahead. Like he could be like a really, really special offensive player because of his size, his skill, and we've seen at times like the shot making, like it kind of it kind of fluctuated, but we've seen it from multiple levels of the court, the mid range face up, the pick and pop threes, like the step back threes, like he can do that stuff. So I think the main questions for him, come down to, how can he lock in defensively?
Right.
Can he improve as a defensive rebounder? We saw flashes for sure. But as far as like the offensive side of the floor goes, he's so skilled and so talented, and he's still young. And despite that, he already has a pretty good understanding of the game and good vision and court awareness. So I think he has the chance to be a special, all-star caliber offensive player for a long, long time.
He's a four, right? He's a stretch. He's a kind of a modern
Yeah.
stretch four, right?
Definitely, and I think you'll see him like you did at Duke. Like he'll play some small ball five too in some certain lineups when you're trying to juice the offense a little bit, and you just put more shooters around him. But yes, I do think predominantly full time he'll be a four with some minutes as like a five as well.
AJ Griffin, 6'6", softest. I mean, a marshmallowy jump shot. It's not really a jump shot though, and that would concern me. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean he's a special shooting prospect. Always has been, and like
Mhm.
working here, we certainly saw it up close at Duke this season. But even if you go back to AJ's, his work with USA Basketball, his work as a prep, like has always for years now has been a special shooting prospect. So what we saw at Duke was just really the continuation of that. And he just does. It's that it's this. It's like a 12-6. What's the curveball 12-6 or
Yeah,
whatever?
12,
Like
12 to 6 is a straight over the top curveball, yes.
yeah, it just falls off the table and right into the hoop. 49% of the time. Incredible range, and you saw it not often because Duke had a lot of guys that played on the basketball, right? Paolo, Wendell Moore, Jeremy Roach, Trevor Keels. And so every once in a while, though, one or two times a game, AJ would get an isolation possession, right? And there were only flashes of him going downhill as a driver, but we saw that he has the ability to
Hmm.
create space with the step back and get to that isolation three. It's just, is he physically, like, assuming the knees are fine, like, and by the way, I'm willing to bet on AJ as like a top 7, 6, 7, or 8 pick in this draft. Like, I think he's really like potentially a special player. In part because like he can shoot off of movement. We saw them use him as a guy that could shoot coming off handoffs, coming off pin downs in the NCAA tournament. They started running all that action for him coming off the elevator door screen. So like, can he be a guy that you run sets for at the next level? I think that's absolutely in the deck of cards for him. So assuming physically he's ready, he improves defensively. Really, I think one-on-one especially, on the basketball. Assuming that gets better, he gets more confident in the knee, then like, yeah, I just think he has the chance to be an excellent player for a long time, in part because that shot, I know he doesn't get, like he's got that wide, we've
Yeah.
talked about this before, Gold, that Jeff Bagwell like batting stance on his shot, but he gets it off, like he does. And I mean, I know it's a little bit of difference to do it against NBA length and those type of closeouts, but he still has the ability to create enough space and get that shot off that I feel pretty confident about him translating to the next level, assuming physically he's good to go.
Too good a shooter. If his knees check out, he's going to play in the league for a long time because he can absolutely shoot it. All right, real quick on Mark Williams. I've seen the Hornets been attached to him. I've seen him go later in the draft. What do you think about Mark?
Yeah, even a team like the Chicago Bulls have pick 18, and that's another team that's been linked to Williams if he were to fall it in, and if they kept that pick could also be on the move for the Bulls. But yeah, Williams is sort of like the archetypal modern day center in a lot of ways, right? And far as like the one, a guy that can't shoot, but just like give you some scheme versatility, guarding the pick and roll, going to play a lot of drop coverage, but can play up to the level. And on offense, he's there to screen, dive, catch lobs, and hit the offensive glass and do the back taps a la Tyson Chandler, which he was very good at doing at Duke, keeping possessions alive. 9'9" standing reach, which is just is ridiculous. 7'7" wingspan. To be like a really, really good drop center in the NBA, one of the baseline requirements you need is just elite size, and Williams has that. So no, I think I don't think he's gonna. I think at times in the NBA he will run into issues the way that he did at Duke at times this season, where there are some teams that are gonna be able to play him off the court at the end of games, right? But that's okay because he can still play a lot of minutes earlier on in the game. He can still be a starter for a long, long time. He can still be a starter in the NBA for a long, long time. Make a ton of money. Anchor some really good defenses, like that type of stuff. I think that's in the cards for Mark.
Yeah, look, we've seen, Robert Williams get played off the court at the end of games too. We've seen a lot of good players. I'm not comparing the two, but there are players who get played off the court based on matchups. All right, real quick, Wendell Moore Jr., Trevor Keels, either likely in the first round?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight for both those guys. I could see both sneaking in, and I saw someone recently was talking about Keels as maybe an option for Golden State at 28. I actually think that's a little intriguing. Moore, I think, does sneak in. Keels is right on the fringe. You never know. Maybe a team like Toronto at pick 33 early in the second round, that would be such a great landing spot for Trevor Keels. Moore, I just love his game as a jack of all trades kind of guy. Can shoot it a little bit, can run a pick and roll, can be a very good hit-ahead passer in transition, nice team defender, can guard, a couple different position types. We'll see how that translates to in the NBA, but should be able to guard, ones and twos, maybe some threes, guarded 1 through 5 at times when he was at Duke. So again, he has some of the versatility, and just a guy that I think understands offensive flow and moves without the basketball. I thought Duke was at its best late in the season, playing through Banchero, playing through Jeremy Roach, and letting Wendell Moore Jr. just sort of roam and cut, relocate for threes, cut along the baseline for dunks and layups. So I kind of like his all-around game, and I think both have a chance to sneak into the first round, but I'll say Moore in the first round, Keels early second.
Real quick on Wendell Moore, if he's just a little bit quicker at the next level, I think he's got a chance because he's, 6'5", maybe 6'6", and he can initiate. He can be a secondary initiator of your offense. He can defend. His three-point shot certainly got a lot better. But I think he needs to be just a tad quicker in order to do it. All right, Dereon Seabron and Brady Manek. I was looking at Sam Vecini's mock draft, and neither is mentioned, I believe, in their 2-round mock drafts. Maybe more so than Seabron. I'm confused by Manek at 6'10" with that stroke. Why that guy's not more of a prospect?
Yeah, again, we've talked about this multiple times for months now, even going back to the regular season. There just aren't a lot of guys that size that can shoot from that far away coming off movement. So, I wouldn't, obviously, I don't know if Manek's going to get drafted, but he's going to get his shot one way or the other. You know what I mean? You're going to see him in Summer League. He'll get an Exhibit 10. He'll be in a training camp, and maybe he'll have a chance to get a two-way or go through the G League and perhaps, work his way into an NBA system by that. It's not the most glamorous pathway, but, because he is that size and because he can shoot, I think in part because he just had this season at UNC, which, there's like there's a certain there's a big UNC element in the NBA. And
Yeah.
people watch those NCAA tournament games, so it's like that stuff does matter. So no, I think he'll get his shot. And Seabron, like I don't understand him not being like. I think ESPN's mock had him at like 54 or 55. Like
Right.
I would definitely draft Dereon Seabron. I think he should be like a top 45 pick pretty safely, but just with his frame, that rangy athleticism, his ability to slash, get downhill. I know he struggles shooting the basketball, but his ability to cut, hit the offensive glass, assuming the jump shot comes online, then I think you really have something. Even if the jump shot doesn't come online, you still got like an interesting skill set in like a body that makes sense in the NBA. I know he's skinny. Just weighed at 182 at the combine, but just thinking about with the wingspan, with his ability to slash, get downhill, the ability to change directions, change speed, the Euro step, like all of that kind of stuff that he packages into one really fun, downhill driver. I think he deserves a shot. I think he should be drafted. Like I think Seabron should be a top 45 pick in this draft.
Yeah, I think he can add size, like he can add bulk. It still comes down to this for me, and I've been saying this about in every draft, since I've been talking about this. If you can't shoot, in this NBA, everybody has the ability to shoot unless you are just a massive human being and you're going to be a rim protector. Everybody's got the ability to shoot. So, and I know Seabron shot it okay this past year. I just don't know if he can do that. So if he can demonstrate that, then I've said this before, I think he can be a very good player and a rotation player in the league. But to me, that's what they're saying, is that they don't believe he can shoot.
He shot it pretty well at the combine, which means almost nothing. He shot I think 71% from the line this season. Like that's a decent indicator. And I did think like the sample was incredibly small, but there were times this season when he had space and like emphasis on space. Like he needed room to have like the time and to have his comfort level up to like step into a catch and shoot three. But he was able, he showed some ability to do that. It's not like he was punting the ball into the second level of PNC, on the handful of times he had the ability to do that. I would see all the other tools he had that you can't develop, and I would say, okay, well, now I'm going to try to figure this other piece out. And then if he can't do it, again, it's a huge problem. I do think there are other ways to sort of assuage that, which is the ball is in his hands, or even, I don't know how much you watched the Brooklyn Nets this season, but the way they use someone like Bruce Brown,
right,
who's the one that will set a screen for Kevin Durant and then dive to the rim as instead of having the 7-footers,
sure,
slip to the rim or dive to the rim, all of a sudden you've got a 6'6" guy going downhill in space with some advantage. I don't know, that's maybe a tough needle to thread, but I think Seabron is another one of those guys because of his decision making, his ability to slash, that I would be tempted to try to give that role to, even if the shot, wasn't there.
All right, we're out of time here, but real quick, does Jake LaRavia or Alondas Williams get drafted in the first round?
It's tough. I think Alondas should. I don't think he will. And I think LaRavia has a chance, maybe again at 28 to Golden State, but boy, he like Keels, he's right on the cusp of the first round. So I'll say no, but I hope to be surprised.
All right, we got to check in again on draft day. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Brian Geisinger, League Pass Lair, ACCsports.com, @bgeis_bird on Twitter.